The Chieftain Museum was a great location to start off the investigations. It was very well kept. The house itself was in perfect condition. If I was looking at it from a paranormal investigator standpoint, and I was trying to see through the eyes of a spirit, I would see that place as being a fantastic location to haunt because it actually keeps its historical heritage.
Originally this was a headboard, right, or a bed butted up to this. And one day they came up here and they just noticed there's scratch marks on the wall. So you think maybe during childbirth, no epidurals, no painkillers, anything, possible headboard reaching back in pain, scratches appear.
They say that spirits are usually riled up by, changes to a house. Sometimes when people go in and they change the facade or they knock down walls and they redecorate it. Sometimes spirits that live in those locations that are used to things being the way that they've seen it will actually protest via, haunted occurrences. So when we walked through the Chieftain Museum, I thought it was a very beautiful place to investigate. As far as the investigation went at the Chieftain Museum, it was a lot of personal cases of, people feeling touched.
Holy cow. Wow. 86, 83. Immediately? Yeah. Are you feeling something right now, Chris?
I felt like a cold pressure in my hand. Then I felt something tickle down my elbow.
You are at 80.3 right now.
You dropped from 86.
It just dropped from 86
to 80
to 80.
Like the ends of my fingertips are tingling.
Some people felt, a draft. There was several instances where we thought we heard voices or saw shadows moving about. But it wasn't until later during the evidence part of the investigation that Chris and Barry actually found a credible EVP.
Majority of our findings from what we have found has been from the one we left downstairs next to the gift shop area. The first one we got was probably right at 17 minutes into the session. We had a recorder down to that room, and upstairs you can barely hear in the background one of the investigators had asked a question, asking if Nancy Ridge, we heard a sound, it's like, is Nancy, is that you? And we thought we got a response, and here's kind of what we got on that. I know, there was something that moved down there.
Are they talking downstairs?
I'd heard a voice. I don't know if they're talking or not.
Definitely sounded like some type of response from us. It's definitely a voice that we couldn't describe. Wasn't one of us. Everybody we knew where we were at, we were accounted for.
The voice was very clear. It could not be mistaken as anything else, and that was probably a perfect classic example of a really good EVP.
Later on that night, same recorder, you'll hear a sound that sounds, you can tell it's traffic going by. And right after that, you hear kind of a strange voice. It doesn't sound like a feminine voice to us on this time. Again, we can't tell exactly what we think it's saying, but it almost sounds like it's something telling us to get out. And I know if I'd have heard it that night into it, it definitely would have sparked my interest, and we would have probably went and investigated that part a little bit more.
My personal feelings towards EVPs is that they are the best source of evidence for a paranormal investigation. It's the closest and most personal evidence you can get because it will be a response to somebody's question. And it is the most unlikely to be faked. It is easier to fake a photograph. Anybody can do it with, Photoshop and a computer. But EVPs, if everybody's accounted for at the location and you get a noticeable reply to your question, it's very hard to discredit that. Now, as far as how many EVPs it takes before you can count a house as a haunted location, it could take as few or as little. It really is the collective data brought to the investigation from a number of investigator standpoints. And oftentimes it'll take 2 or 3 separate investigations before a paranormal investigator or ghost hunter would feel safe in claiming that it is a haunted location.